She left expecting wreckage, a man who couldn't function, who would fall apart without her, who do spend the next year proving how much he needed her by how badly he was doing without her. Here is what she didn't plan for, and what you are about to learn by the end of this video is how to build yourself step by step and what happened when the wreckage never comes. When the man left standing isn't broken, he's just getting started. This isn't a revenge story, it is a construction story. Let's build it together. Few years ago, there was a man with foundation beneath him can build almost anything. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about the exact moment someone expects to collapse and what it means for you and for them when it never actually arrives. There is a quiet assumption baked into a lot of breakups that the one who was left was para and the one who left will land on their feet. It is an old script and a lot of people live expecting to watch it play out exactly that way. So the early hours feel almost scripted from the outside. The silence, the low point, the night that genuinely are hard. That part is real and it's allowed to be. But somewhere in the middle of the expected collapse, something else started happening quietly underneath the pain. You start rebuilding, and nobody told you that was even an option because the story you were handed only had one ending. The hardest part isn't the heartbreak, it is unlearning the idea that you were only ever the half that fall apart. If you ever felt like someone expected you to fall apart and you are quietly proving that story wrong, it's the thumbs up. It is how this reached the next man, rewriting an end nobody wrote for him. Subscribe if you are doing this work with us and send this to someone who is tired of being cast as the one who couldn't handle it. Here is what actually happens when the expected collapse didn't come. The energy that was supposed to go into falling apart gets redirected almost by accident into figuring out who you are without the relationship holding certain parts of you any longer. That is not spite, even though it looks like it from the outside. It is just what is happening when a person stops being defined by someone's expectation of him and start actually testing what he's capable of doing on his own. The version of you built out of that testing tends to be stronger than the version that existed before. Not because heartbreak is good for you, but because you were finally forced to find out what was actually yours to begin with. She thought living would break you. What she didn't account for is that you were never as fragile as the role you do been playing. We'll be back in a moment, and when we return back, we'll talk about how this actually gets built on purpose instead of just happening to survive it. This isn't really a story about resilience showing up automatically. It is a story about a handful of deliberate choices made in the middle of the wreckage that was supposed to happen. Choosing to keep a routine instead of letting the days get blurred together. Choosing to tell the truth about how bad a night actually was instead of performing fine. Choosing on the hard days to do one small thing that had nothing to do with proving anyone wrong just because it moved you an inch forward. None of that looks dramatic at the moment. It is not supposed to. It is just what a building actually looks like day by day, long before there's anything to show for it. The people who come out of this stronger aren't the one who never hurts. They are the ones who kept choosing the next small thing anyway. This week, notice one place you are still living inside the story someone else wrote for you. The one you were supposed to fall apart and supposed to prove how much you need them to how badly you were doing. Pick one deliberate action that has nothing to do with that story at all. Something you are doing purely because it is good for the man you are actually becoming, not because it disproves anything to anyone. Do it without an audience. Nobody needs to know it happened. That is the actual mechanism here, not one dramatic turnaround. 100 small choices that quietly build a version of you the whole story never accounted for. She thought living would break you, but it built you. Not because breaking up is secretly feel good, and not because you needed to prove a point. Because somewhere in the middle of the wreckage you were supposed to become, you started making small deliberate choices instead, and those choices added up into something stronger than what came before. That isn't a revenge story. It is just what happened when a man stopped waiting to fall apart and start building instead. This is the story nobody predicts, and it is being written. If you are ready to become the version of this story nobody saw coming, hit the thumbs up. It is how this reached the next man, quietly proving the expected ending wrong. Drop a comment. What is one deliberate choice you made that quietly rebuked you when everyone expected the opposite? Subscribe if you are doing this work with us. Until next time, you were never supposed to fall apart. Go finish building.